right, let's go ahead and finish up Chapter 4 of Unit 2. We were on Example 4. We just finished 4, so we're going to go ahead and start Example 5. And it says Liam Brown is single. He's single in his mid-20s, and he owns a condo in a big city. He's calculated the following assets and liabilities. So it breaks down to all of your assets and your liabilities. Now, assets are things that I own. So again, assets are things that I own. Things that I have, they're in my possession. Whereas liabilities are things that I owe. And at the bottom here is the question. It says, calculate Liam's net worth. Last year at this time, he calculated that his net worth was $205,780. Compare both values and what do the changes mean? So in order to find your net worth equals the assets that you have, what you own, minus the liabilities, what you owe. So if I take what I own, and all through here, these are all of my assets. These are the things that I own. Liam has a condo, he has a car, he has a checking account, he has a savings account, a retirement account. He has a computer, he has a bass guitar, and he's got stocks and bonds. And if we add all of those values together, if we add all of those values together, it comes to $673,180. Now down to the liabilities are what he owes. And that falls right here in this category. He owes a mortgage on his home. He owes a student loan, and he owes some money to some consumer debt or credit card debt. So if I add those values together, I get $432,600. Now remember here that I said that net worth is my assets minus my liabilities. Well, my assets here was $673,180 minus my liabilities, which is $432,600. And if I subtract those, I find that I have a net worth of $240,580. So we found the net worth, and the second part of the question says, compare what the changes from last year are. Well, last year, he was only worth $205,780. Whereas this year, he's now worth $240,580, which is the difference of about $34,800. So he's worth more this year than he was last year. Now, this could be for many reasons. It could be that the value of his condo went up this past year. It could be that he had much higher debt on his home mortgage or his student loan or his credit card, and he paid them down. So, for his net worth to increase, it means that either or both, he lowered his liabilities and increased his assets. And that's really what the changes mean. So on the you-do, it says, what can Liam do to continue improving his net worth trend? Now, normally in the classroom, this is something that kind of creates conversation. Obviously, we can't do that. So here we're just going to kind of go ahead and list it. He could continue to pay down his loans. He could pay off his credit card. He could, let's kind of go back there. He could pay off his credit card. He could try to pay down this student loan here. Over this time, he's going to have 12 mortgage payments, which is going to lower his amount owed on his home. And you never know. Here, hopefully his condo will continue to increase in value. Other than that, here, I would say his car most likely is going to go down in value. So the biggest thing that he can do to continue this trend is to continue to pay down his liabilities. All right, last example. It said Tomei's monthly liabilities and assets are shown in this table. And it says to find Tomei's debt to income ratio. So debt to income ratio is going to be my debts divided by my income. So looking over here, my debt or my liabilities, I'm going to go ahead and add all of these values together. And I find that my debt or my liabilities per month are $3,400. Tomei has a $2,300 mortgage payment. He has a $750 student loan payment. He has a $200 credit card payment and a $150 car loan payment. His income or his assets are as follows. He has a gross salary monthly of $7,800. He has stock dividends in a total of $380 that he receives a month, and then he has interest in $120 a month, and that totals $8,300. So, as I said before, we're looking at a debt to income ratio, which is the debt, which is the $3,400, over the income, which is $8,300. And when I calculate that using a calculator, basically I'm going to put in $3,400 and then divide it by $8,300 because that's how a fraction works. And I'm going to get a total of 0.41. Remember, to get a decimal then to a percentage, I'm now going to move 2 to the right. And his debt to income ratio is 41%. Finally, the check your understanding, go ahead. It says Tomei anticipates next year his car and his student loan have been paid off, and he'll receive a 10% salary increase. If everything else remains the same, calculate that debt to income ratio. So go ahead and press pause, calculate that. When you're done, come back and we'll see how you did. All right, let's see what happened here. First off, it says that his car and his student loans are going to be paid off. So the student loan's going to go away, the car loan is going to go away. And so the only two values that I'm adding together here are the $2,300 and the $200. So now the new liability or debt is $2,500. Over here, we're looking at an increase in his salary of 10%. So if I multiply that by 1.1, which is the 100% is the 1, 0.1 is the 10%, his income is now going to be $7,800, and I apologize, it's going to be $7,800 plus 10% of that, which is $780. So he now has an income of $8,580. He still has his stock dividends and he has his interest. So if I were to total those down, his new income is $9,080. So to get that new debt to income ratio, I'm going to come over here. I've got my $2,500 divided by $9,080, and I get 0.275. Moving the decimal over, I'm looking at 27.5, or if I were to round up, 28%. Now, 28% is a much more realistic, good debt-to-income ratio 40% is a little bit on the high side. Don't want to be in that 41% range here. Be better to be in that 28% range. So remember, having income, having money, that's power. So the better you can do at managing your debt, managing your liabilities, the better off you are going to be.